Welcome back to Dubsy Bricks and another episode of building the Batcave in Lego. And as you can see, we have some wires here on the manor, and these are the lights that we're going to be putting in. Now originally I was going to be having the 3 lights in the centre there, and then the wires are going to get fed through under the manor and out the back. However, I've discovered that it's actually going to be easier to have this light going out that way, or the wire going out that way, and connected to the same connection board as the 2 lights that are by the back landing pad. These 2 will then be going into the manor house, and then the ones over the back will be coming in through the back. And the problem I've got is I've got nowhere near enough connection boards, so that is going to be a bit of a problem. But what I can do is get all of the lights, because I have got enough lights and I've got enough connecting cables. It's just the connection boxes that I haven't got enough of. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get all of the lights put in place. So for example, this one here needs to go underneath that underneath the bricks there in some way or another. The road is going to be going over it, so it might be a case of I just do something with the design to keep it in place, gardening wise. But any cables that do need to go under, I will be putting them under so I can concentrate on getting as much of the grounds done as possible. Around the back, I have started feeding the lights through. I am struggling to find a couple of the holes which were where it's supposed to go through, like into the suit chambers. So I need to work out what I'm doing with those. So I'm going to be concentrating on this episode on doing as much of this as I can and getting that ready. But I also want to start looking at how I'm going to be turning this into a concealed entrance and exit, and the same with the bottom one. So I'm not sure how much progress we're going to get done this week. There's going to be a lot of destruction going on around this area and this area here, but we need to make sure that any destruction we do is worthwhile and it's not being done just for the sake of it. Let's make a start, and we'll check back in once we've worked out exactly where we're starting, and we'll go from there. So as you can see from this, it is very difficult, and it's what I was a little bit concerned about doing. The beam here that I need to get out, and up here is all right underneath this part here. So that plate there is completely under the whole roof section, so I'm not sure how much of this more I can peel back, and I really want to get back by about 2 or 3 bricks if I could, so I could get some sort of mechanism in there. Not looking likely, so it's at the moment I'm thinking it's going to have to be a case of just putting a hinge brick on here and it all being done manually. So I was hoping I could make that all hollow, or certainly some hollow bit, and then I could put a rod down which could then make something pop up. But yeah, it's not looking like that's going to be the case, unfortunately. So we've peeled off all of the bricks on the front of the lower section here and the plates that were above it, and these 2 bricks here are under that section there, and that's a burp, a big ugly rock piece, which is underneath that, which is obviously underneath all of this here. So there's no way that those 2 are coming out unless I slide this entire mock off of the table and peel off the base plate underneath it and then put it in. And again, that is too risky because I don't know what would happen with the viaduct bridge just there. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try and build a hinge onto that section there, and we'll see what happens. And one entrance is concealed, so it's a pretty simple device here. Just put some hinges on here with the plates. Now these plates are actually 5x4 on the actual main plate bit, and then the extra 2 studs there. So the whole thing is 6 plates in long, 6 studs in length. And all I've done is to made it into one big plate, which will lift up, and then that will just drop back down and cover the rock face there, cover the hole there. Now what I'm going to do the snot technique on this section here, and I'm going to carry on building the rock work up above it. So the only way you're going to be able to open this is by just lifting up using your finger. As long as it looks okay, that is going to be what we're going to do. Once I've tied it all up, if I look at it and think actually I don't like the look of it, then we'll come back to it and see if we can find another solution, because I want to make sure that it does look right. I don't want to sort of like invest much time as I have done in this mock just to do shortcuts at the very end of it, just to rush finish it and things like that. It's still got to look spot on. So I was hoping to finish the mock within sort of like probably 4 or 5 updates. If it takes an extra 3 updates, it takes another 3 updates. I just want to make sure this looks good. And here we are back at the concealment part of the Batcave. This door is just dropping down, so as soon as the bricks go on, that's going to be completely closing. Now I want to get this built today. I don't want to have to wait for parts to come in or anything like that. And also I think it's good to try and get around the building challenges with the parts that you have available, as long as it's not a detriment to the look of it. So I found these one of these hinges out here, and these ones, if it will stay in focus, when you click them they actually stay in place. So that's going to be a much better option for that. Now I haven't got that many of them. I have, however, got ones like this where it's got two studs on there, but as you can see it will be out of alignment with the studs on the top. So what I'd have to do is, I want if I was to put the plate on here, for example, and I just put it on there, as you can see, when I'm building down, it's going to be out of line. There's going to be a half brick gap. If I use a jumper plate, I'll be able to move it over by that half plate. So the hinges, I'm going to put along there, will be on jumper plates, and then that means that the door itself will be in line. So here we have the door that's going to be concealing the Batcave, and as you can see, I put a row of snot bricks all the way along the bottom, and then 2 rows of plates, and then another snot brick. And that enabled me to put 3 wide in bricks on there. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to build a rock face up till it gets to the top there. Not sure how I'm going to attach it at the top, but it will just rest against these studs, and then that will give us the same sort of like pattern as what we've got on the rest of it. Then what we'll do, we'll put some slopes going at a different angle on the bottom just to cover those studs up there, or we might put some cheese wedges and tiles. But yeah, if I'll just show you how we're going about building the door. So once I built that up, I'll check back in and show you what it looks like. And here it is on there. So as you can see, if you zoom out, it doesn't look too bad. Not quite pleased with the gap at the top there. And I have put a couple of tiles in there which have sort of like made it a little bit better. I don't like the way you can see the studs along here, but that's due to the fact of the method that I've done for doing the rock face on there. But the biggest problem is when you put it up, even though they're clicking joints, it's just way too heavy for 2 of them. It was a long shot trying it, hasn't worked, so we've got to come up with some other solution. This is quite frustrating. One problem I have got is, like, if I just rip that off, take that hinge off, even if this was a door that was on there and it was on hinges, it's only going to come so far. I'm not going to be able to get it open any further, and it's not going to be sufficient for the Batwing to get out, or the Batmobile. So here we are back at the concealment of the Batcave, and we're on to plan 473, I think it is, and we're now going to be trying using the mechanism after all. Now I did say that it wasn't possible to put it in there because obviously this is all solid. What I'm thinking about doing is putting this on here and then building the rock out a little bit, so I'm going to be changing the look of it on there. And the idea is that there'll be a lever or a wheel at the top, and when you turn it, that's going to enable that to open. So hopefully it's a very small sort of like area to sort of like have to cover up with rock on here. So once that's on there like so, you would turn the cog and that would lift the door up. So I just need to work out whether or not that is actually going to work or not, and also whether or not it's, obviously there's only 2 studs there and the rock face is quite narrow at the top. So once again, I need to make sure that it's going to be able to hold the weight on the studs that we're going to be offering to it. I can put a lot more bricks on the axle either side of it, but again, it's just something I just need to make sure it is going to work. I don't want to sort of like dismantle, put it all together, rebuild all the rock work up, and then find that it doesn't work. So yeah, we're going to give this a go and see if this plan works. And here we have yet another mechanism all in place, and we're hoping this one is going to do the trick. So with this lever, you just pull it down and it pulls the Technic bars up, which will obviously have the door on. So all I need to do now is make sure that I can build a door into these Technic bricks, because I want to continue to use the slopes that we've got down here, all of these sort of things, to keep it with looking the same. I don't mind putting some different bits on these 3 downward bits, that'd be absolutely fine. And then all I need to do is work out how I'm going to cover up the cogs on there, because they do protrude a brick by just a fraction. It's just like almost like a couple of bits of paper in width, but I just need to make sure I don't cover those over. But yeah, really pleased with how this is looking, and just hoping that we can pull it off with this. And it's all changing. Hopefully it will actually work this time. Previously I just had 1 row of cogs, and it was about 4 or 5 of these small ones here. However, they just did not have the power to lift it up, and they were just slipping, popping off and everything else, so way too much pressure on there. So what I've done, I've put 4 rows in, as you can see there, and they're boxing in between the Technic bricks there. So now when we pull the lever, it lifts it up. So it's finally working, finally got there. Just realised there was a pink and a white brick under there, which is not very good looking, so we will amend that. But yeah, there it is. It's finally a working door. So here we've got our Batcave concealed entrance. So all you need to do, there's 2 levers at the top, and then that will lift up the door. And just let the levers go and it goes down. So it's quite an easy motion on there. Technical problem we've got is there's a slight gap in here, and that's purely because of the weight of this entire section here. So I need to try and work out if there's a way around it. Also, you can see the cogs, which I don't like. I have put these snot bricks in here, which I was originally going to put a plate on there and then some tiles to cover it over. However, when the door comes up, it then starts hitting those tiles, so I can't do that. So I'm trying to work out if there is a way around it. Now this door I've built so many times today. I've made so many changes. We're on about version 62, I think it is, of this, and it's still not perfect. I think some of these things I'm just going to leave as it is for the time being, and then I'm going to have a think about it and see if there's any ways. Might try and mock up a couple of different options, just sort of like do some prototypes and see if there are any ways, like if I brought this out a little bit more at the top and then put the slopes, would that help it? And then to sort of like cover it up, I don't know. But either way, we're going to have a play and see what we can do at a later stage. But at the moment, I'm just going to leave it because there are other things I can crack on with the cave. Now we've made a start on the bottom door to conceal the Batcave, and as you can see, it's quite straightforward. It's on the clipping hinges and it will stay up there. I will be putting some of the vine looking sort of things over it just to give it a little bit of character. These don't weigh anything at all, so it's going to be quite good to put a few of those on there. It's going to bring a little bit more life to the cave as well, so I'm quite pleased with that. So when you zoom out now, as you can see, the Batcave is completely concealed, which is really good. All you do is carry on building the road back up here and then work on some details around the rock face bit there. But yeah, I think it's going to be, the more I think about it, the more I think there's not a lot I'm going to be able to do around here. I did play with sort of like bringing the door out a little bit, but it's still going to be knocking into the rock above it. So yeah, there's no way around it, unfortunately. But pleasing day. It's been a long one, but we'll start tomorrow on just tidying it all up, and then we can get back to doing a little bit on the top of the Batcave. So last night when I finished building or finished recording the video, that's all I said about the bottom bit here, and that I was going to leave this until later on and sort of like just see if I can think of another solution. And the more I've been thinking about it, the more I think I'd just like to get it done now. It'd be nice to sort of like complete a section of the mock and then get on with the next bit. So I think that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to try and see what I can do with this. This door section, I'm happy with how it works, how it looks, and things like that. The problem that I've got is with the cogs. So what I'm going to try doing is using a Technic bar and bring it out further so the cog goes back one, and then I might be able to put stuff on top of it using the snot bricks here, because it would be one stud further out to then be able to cover it up along there. Obviously the problem I'm going to have is that this needs to still be able to come up to there, so there might be a big gap under there. So it's just a case of trial and error, playing with it and seeing what we can do. But yeah, that's what we're going to be concentrating on first of all. So I think what I'm going to rip all of that off. It comes off quite easily in some places, and then we'll have a look and take parts over to my desk where we can sit down and have a good play of it. And I'm going to make the rock section with the door over there and bring it back and start putting it back on that way. But hopefully I'll find a solution. So I don't want to be seeing those cogs. I just don't think it looks right. I mean, if you were sort of like a hiker that had come across this pathway, you'd be looking, I think, what's the cogs, and be suspicious of the area. So it needs to be something that just looks like it blends in on there. So yeah, let's have a look, see what we can come up with. And looks like it's another day of building this doorway. So I've been having a play with the mechanism here. So this is the door that was already made, so it obviously came off in one piece, so it's just the cogs above which have been the issue, which is good news. And what I've done, I've actually put an extra plate on the Technic bricks here, where that yellow one is, orange one is, sorry, and then I put the tile on front of it, so that's bringing it out a little bit further. So when you're looking from that side, it's concealing the cog there. Now what I'm doing, I'm going to replace, originally I had a too long Technic brick on there, which was on a slope, so I've just now put a 3x2 brick underneath, and that's as many studs as I can go back on the rockwork, and then I'll just put a 4x1 Technic brick on there. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this bracket on the front of it, and then I've got the slopes with a 1x4, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to be popping that on the front of there. So as you can see, that can go all the way under there. So if you imagine, that's how much it opens. So the rock can come all the way up. So I'm going to build that section there and then attach it onto the wall, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be a working mechanism and the cogs will be totally hidden. So as you can see, it's very hard to see the cog now. I haven't put an extra plate on there, so if you imagine that coming out by one plate. In fact, actually, let's just do it on the other side, it'll be easier. Alright, let's just switch this over and then pop that on there. So as you can see, the cog is totally hidden now, and that's what we've been trying to achieve. So we're going to carry on doing that, and hopefully we'll be able to conceal that little bit at the top there as well, and we'll have finally got there. But yeah, it's if it does look like that on there, I don't mind the gap just there, because as I said, you get crevices in rocks all the time. But this might very well may be a solution to the problem. So I'm just going to put that back in, and then once it's in there, we can build that rockwork back up, and hopefully we'll have it finally sorted. So yeah, let's get back to building. And as you can see, the door is hanging back on there. We've got all of the cogs on, and I've changed the technique on here for how I'm going to put the rockwork. So as you can see, we've got the brackets here, and all I'm doing is I've put a bracket on the bottom Technic brick, and then on top of that we're putting a 1x2, focusing there, 1x2 plate, which is going on top, and then a 1x2 tile on top of that. Now the reason I've done that is I want to put another bracket on top here, and by putting the plate and the tile on top of that, it comes up to the bottom of that one there, so that will then stop that one from popping off if there's any pressure put on it. Now what I can do is I can actually put a plate over the front of this, and when we move that, it's not connecting it. So it's going to enable me to get that a little bit more detail all around this section, as closed in, compact as possible, as fewer gaps as possible. And then again, the bottom ones here, I can just put the curved tiles on there like I was originally going to do. So I'm going to carry on building all this up and make sure I get a lot of bricks on top. The reason I was pushing down, pulling levers in, if I don't hold it down, it's just going to, all the cogs are going to fly off. So as soon as it's got the plates on there, then it will function properly. But I'm a lot happier with this technique than what I was last night. So fingers crossed, it's all going to work out and we can get it all looking nice and finished. And there we have the rock work all completed above the entrance to the Batcave. So I'm not 100% happy with this section here, but it's a lot better than it was before. I wish I could get the rock work going in a downward motion, but where I've got the cogs behind it is really, really difficult. And I think once I put a few plants and everything along the top and whatever else, I think it might sort of like to tear away. There's nothing, I cannot put a single brick or plate, tile or anything on there. Otherwise it stops it opening. So at the moment when I pull the levers, it comes up, and depending on how hard you pull the levers as to how much you can get up, and you do get quite a good view into the cave down along the ramp. So that's quite nice. But yeah, at least it's functioning, that's the main thing, and you can't see the cogs now, so I'm a lot happier on that side, but I just wish I could have done something else with the tiles on there. But yeah, that's it for this part of the cave. What we're going to do now is just put the plates back up on this section and do that part, and then cover up the bottom entrance there where the boat would come in and out. That one's a lot simpler, or at least I hope it's going to be. And then we have a little bit of a tidy up, and then we can make a start on doing a little bit of the road up the top here. So yeah, let's get back to it. And there we have it. Both the entrances to the Batcave have been concealed. I really like the moss effect at the bottom there, which Mrs. Dubsy Bricks suggested to me, so that was a really good idea. And the top bit here, I'm happy with the door, but I'm still not happy with that bit there. I've spent so long on it and I haven't come up with another solution. If I do further down the line, then I will amend it. However, at this moment in time, I'm a lot happier that you can't see the cogs, so that is an improvement. But I don't like the way it goes that way with the lines, as opposed to everything else coming down with the rockwork effect. But yeah, anyway, let's get up to the top of the Batcave and start on putting those lights in properly. We're now turning our attention to the lights and getting all the wires tidied up. As you can see, I've already put one across there, so there's a light going into the bottom of the cave, coming along here, and then I've pulled the wall up so the two light cables that are going in the back of the cave can go up through here to the connector board, and that one goes across to there. So now I just need to build the wall back over these and then tidy as much of this up as possible, and then we can carry on with it. I've still got to do the bookcase in Wayne Manor, and I'll do that at the same time as I sort the wires out in there. So I'm not sure if I'll get around to that this update. I also want to get the road done in here, so once I've got the wires down on the outside of this all in place, I'm going to build this road in so that we can see what that looks like, and then I'll probably concentrate on the rest of the lights in placement and the bookcase and that in the next update. So yeah, let's get back to building this wall up, and we'll finish doing the wiring, and I'll check back in once we've done so. And we're just checking in one final time for this episode, and as you can see, the road is down and it is covering up the wires that we've put in place. We've got two lights which are coming from the landing pad of the Batwing. They come under the wall and to a connector board which is just there. That light's also connected to it, and then from that connector board a wire goes back to the channel. There's another connector board underneath the road here, which the final two lights of the cave roof are connected to, and then it feeds through the channel up into the house, which is where the power supply is going to be. As mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we have still got to find the suit chamber holes so we can feed the lights through, and also through to the gym there, and then we can connect it all up and feed it through to the house, which we'll do at the same time as when we build the bookcase, which is going to hide the lift inside the manor. So we haven't got anywhere near as much done in this update on the grounds as we'd have liked. I have changed that pillar around there, which JW pointed out a couple of episodes ago, so thank you JW. And yeah, we'll get the grounds sorted out on the next episode. That's what we're going to be concentrating on, getting all of the curbs done and tidying it all up. I think once we get the plants, trees, flowers and everything else on the grounds here, is really going to bring the mock to life. It's not just going to be a grey block on there. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I think we are getting very close to the end of the build series. As I said, with the grounds, getting the garden, everything sorted out, the roof put on the carport, extending the carport. I think it's going to take one, possibly two episodes to get it all finished and how we're looking like, especially when you consider we've got to do the porch. We then got to finish the lights, do the bookcase and get that all finished out. We've got to finish the section at the top of the rock here with some shrubs, and can sort of hide those but make it so we can still use them, and then we've got to get the details all finished round on that section just there. Now we've pulled the mock out, we can finish the rock work just the other side of that part there as well. Inside we've got a few more details that we want to do. I'm still contemplating putting a second part of the on here on the top of that rock work, so that I can put some tools on there for the Batmobile, and also possibly a Bat bike, which will be quite good. So that would then need to lead to the ramp, but that's just something I'm considering at the moment. Whether or not I do go for that, I don't know. We've obviously got the Batmobile made and the Batwing. However, we've still got to make the Batboat and the Bat jet ski, so we can do that little Easter egg on there. And then coming to the Easter eggs, I've still got no idea what I'm going to be doing with that. I've had a few suggestions in the comment section a couple of weeks ago, which was really good, so we need to start thinking about that. But yeah, it's getting there slowly but surely. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please consider subscribing to the channel. Give us a big thumbs up if you've enjoyed what we've seen. Remember to hit that notification bell so you can be kept up to date with any future content that we release on the channel, and please share it with as many people as possible. Anyway, thanks for popping on by. See you next time. Bye for now.